Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Lightning Talk, which is part of the U Code Week 2025 training webinar series. Yesterday, U Code Week was officially launched, and we are delighted to have you all here for this round of webinars that include interactive sessions like the one of today, designed to inspire educators and teachers with fresh idea and practical approaches to coding and computational thinking in classrooms. For your information, this Lightning Talk will be recorded and uploaded on the U Code Week YouTube channel as part of the Code for Europe training material. Today's Lightning Talk is titled Cultivating Computational Thinking from the Earliest Age, 5 to 8 years old, and it is co-organized by All Digital and Code and Play. That's why our speaker is Claire Morvan, Chief Operating Officer at Code and Play. And Claire will share how computational thinking can be meaningfully introduced in early education, even before children start formal coding. The agenda for today includes the 20 minutes presentation, more or less, from Claire, and then we will have a 5 to 10 minute Q&A. And so if you want to share some questions also in the chat, you're very welcome to do so. I'll collect them for the discussion at the end, or if you want to make yourself questions at the end, it's the same. So Claire, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for the invite. And I decided to start with a quote. It's not my quote. When we teach children to code, we teach them to think. This is a quote from Seymour Papert, so the dad of Scratch, for instance, in the MIT. And he was a really inventive and creative researcher that we really love here in Code and Play. So I felt that it was nice to start with him because obviously for us at Code and Play, it's very important to give the chance to every child to really learn what is digital literacy from the earlier age. So just to give you quickly a description on who is Code and Play. So Code and Play is an NGO based in Belgium, and we were born in 2017. And our mission is really to educate every child in digital literacy. As you can understand, Code and Play, we go always through playing, but also with a very important inclusiveness aspect. So when we talk about coding and robotics, of course, this is encompassed within computational thinking. And for us, this is really like the heart of what we do on our daily basis here at Code and Play. So far, we trained 35,000 children here in Belgium. More than 5,000 teachers were empowered. Empowered, I will tell you later what we mean by this. And we supported 300 schools so far here in Belgium. So what type of model we adopted is the old school approach, meaning that we really want to create a dynamic within the school. And how do we do this? We do this obviously starting with the, teacher training, and it's not sufficient to us. So it's important, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. Therefore, we also co-teach with them, meaning that we interact with the teacher, we prepare the session with them, and we co-teach in front of children in a very interactive and playful way. And this has a huge change in the approach. It's not only the training, and then they go back to their classroom and perhaps they don't have the equipment, perhaps they are not, they don't have the confidence, and so on and so forth. So we started with this approach, and it's very successful. And this, of course, includes resources, inclusive resources, but I will spend a bit more time what we mean by inclusive. So it's ready-made resources. So it's really lesson plan with exercise and notebook for the teacher, notebook for the kids. So it's really ready-to-eat content. And this is all happening during a 1 year school, meaning that we call it the boost. So from the beginning of the school year until the end, we will be always there to really support teacher within the primary school or starting pre-primary until the 6th grade primary. And recently we start now also for the early secondary schools. And this embed so the content, the training, the follow-up hybrid. So it means that we organize webinars such as this one, thematic webinar, but also like good practice sharing, the access of the community where they can exchange among themselves, among teachers. And we always finish with an evaluation. So we collect feedback from teacher, what we can do better, what worked very well with this specific audience, or in this specific area, rural area, urban area, and so on and so forth. And we always celebrate also. So at the end of the year, we have our annual conference where we try to spotlight and show off also what has been done within schools. So with teacher displaying what they've done, but also some years we invited students themselves to give testimonials on how they use coding and robotics. So yeah, this is always like somehow the journey that a teacher would have with Code and Play. But here today, while we discussed with Martina, and again, thanks for the invitation, I felt that it was important to show and explain what we do also with the pre-primary and early primary age, because this is a bit less common. And we heard also a lot of reluctant teacher or very cautious, is a teacher, is a parent, or come on, you cannot put our kid in front of a screen at that age, and why starting so early? Well, so based on theoretically, based on OECD, European Commission also, UNESCO, they really encourage to start the earliest. Why? Because we start already to somehow put a seed in the very spongy brain of that kid at this age. So coding is really as a language. So the earlier you start this language, the earlier you have, the easier it is later at the later stage. So to understand complex concepts such as coding and robotics, but also it fights again stereotypes, bias such as gender gaps, such as social economical bias, or even special needs bias. So it's very important for us to really start earlier to ease somehow the path and the journey of the kids. And of course, starting earlier, it means that they are at ease then with these soft skills that you can see here on the slide, such as problem solving, the collaboration, the language, the better communication, and as I was saying, also to have an equal access to digital literacy. So I will give you a little bite of this video because it's very self-explanatory. Don't worry, Martina, it's 4 minutes, but I will not go through all because you will quickly understand what it's all about. So I don't say anything now.
You know what? I'm hungry. I could really go for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do you guys think you can write down some instructions and teach me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yeah.
Step 1. Get 2 pieces of bread out. Got 'em. Get a butter knife and get some PB. Take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
No, Dad, with the peanut butter.
I'm just doing what it says. It says take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
Hold on.
Get some jelly, rub it on the other half of the bread.
No, Dad, open the jelly.
Well, it doesn't say to do that. Put the breads together on top of each other. Take a big bite. This doesn't taste like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Fail.
So, and as you can imagine, it goes on and on like this. So this daddy has 2 kids, 1 little boy, 1 little girl. And basically it's to explain what is an algorithm. An algorithm is a series of very specific instructions. And this is to make understand the kids that what does that mean, specific instruction. And we also use this video at the later stage. I will explain when, but basically when we say, are robots intelligent? So this is also a way to introduce teacher, like to show that somehow algorithm can be explained in a very, very easy way. As well, and I'm sorry because most of our resources are in French or Dutch. Here, as you can imagine, so it's a lady saying probably to her partner to prepare the meal. So please put in a pan 1 glass of rice and 3 glasses of water. As you can understand, he did it very, very at the first degree instead of just cooking rice. So we try to really make it easy to understand for teacher, because teacher in most of the case, they didn't get in the initial training digital education. So we try to make them understand how it can be easy to introduce within their kids. So now, how do we do? So we have this path, but it can be also, we decided somehow based on the feedback from teacher, also within the team, we have a teacher also, we work very closely with universities, so they always somehow double check our content and validate them. And also because just what I say, teacher, they didn't get like initial training on digital education. We start with unplugged activity. Unplugged activity means that you can start very easily without any laptop, any computer, and start digital education with very simple exercise. Then we use a robot. Here in picture is M-Tiny, and I will say why this one and not another one. But I have no share with MakeBlock or anything in connection with this brand. And then I'm sure for the teacher or also NGO working with coding, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with this little item, this persona. It's Scratch. So we use also Scratch developed by the MIT to start coding by block. So again, why unplugged activity? So first of all, we work with deprived school. So when we started also to really train teacher, we realized going in a school that they have a very different level in terms of equipment, in terms of connection, but also in terms of confidence of teacher. So the unplugged activity was a very easy way to introduce digital literacy. So for instance, we don't need any computer skill to start really digital literacy. It's low cost, no equipment, because also in many different schools, it's very diverse, the equipment schools have. And last but not least, it also gives some confidence to the teacher that they don't have to deal with any bug during the lesson. So I gave here like a couple examples. For instance, this one is the silly robot game. So as you can see here on the picture in the classroom, it's just a way that they have a reference, and then so one kid can give the order to the other kid that is playing the robot how to go, like moving forward, backwards, and so on and so forth. So it's very similar than the video you saw with the dad. So it's somebody giving instruction, and the more specific, the more the fake robot will succeed. So this is very easy. It also, with the youngest kids help not only for digital literacy, but also, excuse me, psychomotor skills and soft skills. It's team working and so on and so forth. So usually teachers, they feel happy to really use what they usually use with such early age. This can be done easily with a pair of scissors and a piece of paper. So this again is to make them understand how to move on and to make sequential session. So basically, like from the idea to the impact is we try to really reply also to the curriculum, like the mandatory curriculum. Here in Belgium, from the French-speaking community, coding is mandatory from the 3rd grade of primary. And we decided to start earlier, first because then it gives a dynamic within the school when we give them the boost, as I told you earlier. So really to encourage all the teachers to be part of the digital project within the school, but also we are very attentive to reply to what is expected from the curriculum. Here, for instance, from the 3rd grade to the 6th grade primary, what is expected is kids to know what is sequential programming, the loops, spatial vocabulary, counting, measuring, so on and so forth. Excuse me. So, and I just quote a teacher saying, coding takes more and more place in education. It seems essential to start preparing young children early, even before it's in the curriculum. So as I was saying, it's not mandatory here in Belgium to start so early, but somehow it's recommended both by OECD, European Commission or UNESCO, but also on the ground, we feel that it's really important to start at early age to then make a pedagogical continuity. So we start with unplugged activity, so easy to implement with no material. And then we use also one robot. So here is the robot we use, mTiny. In case the school, they don't have the material, in that case, we try to help them to get them. So via subsidies or call for project. In some region here in Belgium, there are some opportunity to get such a material. So we also help school to get equipped. So again, sorry, I quote often Semo Papert, but robotic is really helping also to understand what is programming, because then it makes the abstract concept into very concrete. So using the mTiny help also very young kids to get familiar what is coding, what is robotics. So why mTiny? For various reasons, because there are other robots, such as a Bbot or mbot. I mean, there are many different robots that can be used at early age. We picked this one, so for the 3 reasons you see here on the slide. So for creativity, collaboration. Also, I didn't write it down, but I can tell you that I saw mTiny falling down from table and they are very solid. This is also pretty important when you work with very early age kids, even a bit older, by the way. We usually remove the access with the joystick that you see. We enable the joy part and we use it just as a pen to really make them understand how to code and to be also attentive to the psychomotor skills. And one of the most important reasons also why we pick this one is that they have cards. So the robot comes with cards to really prepare the algorithm. And these cards has exactly the same color, the same pictograms than Scratch. So it helps also kids who doesn't know how to read, the one that are not, they are not like from Belgium, for instance, to somehow give them confidence to recognize what they saw at early age, what they will see on the 3rd, 5th, 6th grade in primary. So here it's example of the type of resource, the ready to eat resource that we are doing at Code and Play. Here again, sorry, it's in French. We have it also in Dutch. And I make a call that if you have any tips how to translate in English, because AI didn't translate it well, I'm telling you, we tried already. But anyway, we intend also to translate it in English at some point. I gave you here also the MakeBlock education. So it's really like the company doing their own resource. And those ones are in many different languages, not only English, but many other. And it's really easy anyway to use, very intuitive. And obviously, it's not only kids that love this mTiny, it's also teacher. I'm telling you, like when we are doing training, like a teacher, they love this little panda. And then this is the last part that we, last instrument that we use when it comes to the early age teaching digital education is Scratch Junior. So many teacher, and not only teacher, but NGO working or actor working with digital education knows very well Scratch because it's free, very intuitive and very complete. there is also Scratch Junior, so for earlier age, and we extensively use it. So for various reasons, the usual reason that we use Scratch in general also because it introduces programming concept. As I say, like it's the same block pictograms and color code also that they can recognize later on the normal Scratch, not the Junior. It's very playful, and for us, it's really important that the kids, they really enjoy what they are doing. It gives a lot of space for creativity. And then, yeah, they can visualize like the block, the coding block. And numerous resources, yes, because as it's so extensively used by teacher or NGO or any actor working on digital inclusion, there are a lot of different communities sharing very great resources. So this is to give you an idea, if you don't know Scratch Junior, how it look like. So it's the usual tutorial environment, as you can see, with the blocking card, with the same pictograms that you can find also with the robot mTiny. So the kids, they feel confident, they recognize, and they make that the link on what they've seen previously with the robot with this environment. So yeah, as soon as they start, they feel quite confident. So here you can have a world of opportunity and creativity. So here it's a video game. It's very simple to use. They recognize very easily. Again, with the inclusive aspect. So as you can see, they don't need to read to play already with and create with this tool. So it's really great instrument to really introduce at early age digital literacy. The last slide for Scratch, I wanted to give you an example on the resource that we made for Scratch Junior when it will appear. So at the beginning of any resource we are creating, we are guiding very much. So we encourage like to, for instance, train the kids to have really basic skills. So, and of course, we see like the basic skills that we imagine in coding. So with a loop, with condition, with variables, and so on and so forth. And this helps somehow to really give confidence to the kids, and then they can create. So basically, we go really step by step. First, we guide them very much, and more, the more they get skills and they understand the logic, they get the computational thinking, then they can have a complete empty space to create from scratch without a game. So voila, we give as much as we can, like very step by step, and very simple to use for teacher also, because if they are not used with Scratch, I mean, we want really to help, support, and guide. And then the more they advance, the more it becomes difficult, but the more skill the kids is. I mentioned a few times the word inclusion because it's really in our DNA here at Code and Play. So the founder of Code and Play, Nadim Kuzam, she realized when she was at uni that there were very, very few women at uni studying engineering and particularly AI already back in years. So for us, it's very important to encourage and convince girls and young girls that coding and robotic is also for them, and the earlier the better. Before, like the gender stereotype are anchored. Also, we work with a special needs school. Here in Belgium, there is what we call ordinary school and a special needs school. And we had a very specific focus for those kids. And we realized that digital education can really can be very inclusive for them and help them in their learning curve, learning process. So we developed, for instance, this label that we have, this friendly. So for dyscalculate, when you are dyscalculator, dyslexic, and etc. So we are very much attentive on making content that they can also include kids with special needs. And last but not least, and I mentioned already the social economical background, deprived background. So we pay attention on using pictograms or being very visual or doing like a lot of role games. So we can also, I mean, they can be also included in this activity within the classroom. So it's intentionally like inclusive, and we design as much as we can in a way that we can really have all the kids in the classroom participating to the activities. So, and here it's the last slide, in a sense that I don't know if the one attending here or the one who will watch the webinar later on, if they are teacher or not. So if you are a teacher, it's very easy to start with an unplugged activity. You don't need any equipment, any computer, any robot, nothing. So, but you can make already understand a kid, what does that mean, algorithm. And very funny with a robot game, for instance, in the classroom, we use I'm a robot and you have to tell me how to brush my teeth. And obviously you need an apron because it's a mess afterwards, but they love it and they quickly understand what is the logic behind. Here, I also put a link, but I can give any type of resource to Martina afterhand, which are, again, in French and in Dutch. But as soon as it's in English, I can make a note. And to engage the community, because we work mainly with schools, but we had a program also, and we extended to structure, working with a very precarious audience, such as orphanage, such as NGO working with women in danger with their family. So it's a type of woman shelter with their family. And we develop activities, particularly with M-Tiny or unplugged activity. So to have some nice activity also in this in this type of structure. And it's funny, like if we have a workshop, like to encourage the kids to teach their parents or their educator the other way around. So yeah, we have different set of activity, but very easy to put into place wherever you are a school or a structure or even at home. So voilà, this is all for me. I hope I was brief and clear enough.
Yes.
And I'm happy to take the question, if any.
Thank you, Claire. It was a super interesting presentation, and like what you're doing is really impressive. So maybe I can start with a question that it came up after you said that at Code and Play you are really into trying to convince girls that they can code and the coding is for them, because there's this whole stereotype of coding of which coding is like for like boys, males, men. And actually yesterday during the EU Code Week launch event, it was something that it was mentioned as well, that we need to go beyond the stereotypes and trying to convince girls that they can do it and that they have all the instruments and tools and knowledge to do so. And I wanted to ask if you have any, maybe a story or an example of some girls who managed to go through the training and to go beyond these stereotypes, and they are now confident with coding.
Yeah, I had a very nice testimonials from Haja. So she studied with us with extrascholar activity. So we organize also, we started like this, even like with extrascholar. So like it can be a holidays camp, but in that case, it was really 1 hour on a weekly basis, coding / robotic activities. And she had no clue what was the activity about. And every year she was subscribing to the same activity because it was done in her school. And once the press contacted me and asked, do you have any example on kids following your activity, robotics and programming? And I remember that girl because I met her a few times in different camps. And I asked her, would you mind to reply a couple questions? And they made a full 2 pages in the press, in the newspaper, because her testimonies, even though she never mentioned Code and Play, but okay, fair enough, that she didn't expect that coding was that she could be so creative, that she could put unicorn everywhere if she wanted, that later on also she did some construction in Fab Lab, because we have also some partner like Fab Lab where she can really use also like a 3D printer and so on and so forth. So basically she realized, because she started so early, she had absolutely no obstacle on why I should not do any summer camp on robotics, because she could customize the way she wanted, because she had enough skills to then, while she was in front of a blank, I don't know, tutorial environment for coding, she was completely at ease. So I think like the earlier, really, this we truly believe this, because we work also with many different actors on secondary, also helping somehow reskilling, upskilling, you know, like the future worker. But when you start much earlier, you see how elastic the brain is, and how enthusiastic and the crazy idea they can put also into place as soon as they have really the basic skills.
Yeah, and also like kids' mind, it doesn't include prejudice. So I mean, the stereotype is something that comes when they're older. So if we start earlier, we also
Exactly.
can go
But
beyond
we
the
are
prejudice.
also very attentive. It's true. I mean, and that was a proper exercise that we are doing also with the University of Namur. When I said that we are checked or proofread by uni, the teacher, I mean, the professor who is checking this, she specialized also in gender inclusiveness. So she's very attentive also on the instruction and content that we are creating to be really gender free. So not also, because we, even as women, we do have this bias. So it's difficult to disconstruct, and it's really a collective effort. So to be accompanied also, like to be supported with the university and this specific professor, Julie Henry, help a lot also. Be careful with this instruction that might be a bias between the lines. So we change also example. Voilà. So this is a proper exercise to which we are very attentive.
Wow, that's also important, of course. The inclusiveness of language and how you speak to students, right? So is there perhaps any other question
Exactly.
or comments that you would like to make? Addressing the audience right now, maybe there's something that you're curious about and you would like to explore with Claire. We have like 5 minutes left, so maybe let me know. Well, anyway, I just wanted to mention that again, that as I mentioned at the beginning, that this recorded webinar will be uploaded on Code Week YouTube channel, and it's gonna be part of the training material of Code for Europe. So it will basically be probably used as an inspiration, or as like to grasp some ideas from many other educators and teachers. So that is something that you must be proud of, Claire. And I'm really glad that you accepted our invitation, because I really admire Code and Play work, and I knew I mean I know your job before, you know that, and so I really wanted you to be part of this webinar series. So I think that
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think there are no further questions, I believe. So to wrap up, I wanted to thank you again for your availability. And I also wanted to do a quick reminder that this webinar series, this Lightning Talk series, will go on. And the next one will take place on the 17th of October, so in 3 days. And it will be co-organized by All Digital and Officina Futuro Fondazione. And it will be titled History Unlocked, Exploring the Etruscan Experience Using a PBL Approach. So it will merge technology and history, and I think it's going to be creative and innovative as well. So we will welcome you very gladly. So I think that we can also close it here. We're perfectly on time. So we have a person who just asked to enter, but Hi, Sandra. I just accepted you, but I guess I mean, we're wrapping up right now, but you will find the recording on, if you're interested, on EU Code Week YouTube channel. So for the future. Thank you everyone for joining, and happy Code Week to
Thank
everyone.
you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Happy Code Week. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
You too.